Hey everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. It's Friday morning, and today I'm going to be talking about what I think is going to be Meghan's next move. And it's going to be dramatic, because with her it always is. Now, we know about Meghan. This is a person with high anxiety and low self-esteem. We see it in everything she does. This is why she's driven to always make herself the center of attention, no matter what the event or who's it for or what the whole thing is. She's got to be the center of attention. And now that puts her ill at ease sometimes, and we've seen it when she's like on a women's panel or at an event. She's like a fish out of water because she doesn't really belong. And she knows she doesn't belong, but she's trying to be a part of it because she figures that's what she needs to do. She doesn't have there's no substance to this woman. She's an empty husk. She has to take on the characteristics of those she wants to emulate, and so she can feel like them. It's like private jet, so I'm a billionaire. American Riviera Orchard, oh, I'm like Gwyneth Paltrow and the guys that created Flamingo Orchard. This is all she can do. She can emulate and imitate, but she has no creative font of creativity. She's got no originality. She's got no intellectual bearing. Everything is just gleaned from somewhere else, and this is also why we see her plagiarize people's speeches all over the place as well. Those aren't her words. She's picked them up and she just uses them, you know. That's why some people call everything that comes out of her mouth word salad, a phrase that I absolutely despise, but we're not going to go there right now. Yeah, so she's this low self-esteem, high anxiety person that always is in need of attention. And right now, look what's happening. Her approval rating is through the floor. None of her business ventures have stuck. Nothing's taking hold. Nobody's breaking down the door to hire her, and oh my God, we must have Meghan Markle. She is unsuccessful, unloved, and unwelcome by the celebrities and the billionaires and the business people and the general public. The groups you want to be a part of or stand above will have nothing to do with her. She's got no credibility. And because of that, business ventures are drying up. We've heard things that the cooking show has been delayed. ARO, well, it's a nothing. Nothing's going on. Nothing's happening with that. It's a name on a piece of paper. There absolutely nothing's materialized. Any of her ventures are falling flat. Their contract with Netflix runs out in 2025. And although, you know, the cooking show is pending, the polo show is pending, who knows what's that going to be? And I don't think they're going to be terribly successful. Meghan's getting bad press wherever she goes. People don't want to be photographed with her because that's like the mark of death. You know, nobody wants to be associated with this woman because she's poison. So Meghan's going to have to do something. She's going to have to do something to garner attention and garner sympathy and maybe kind of get back in everybody's good, if not in their good books, at least they'll sympathize with her because, you know, when all else fails, play the victim. And we've seen this before. I mean, the first time we saw it was the Oprah interview, the perceived racism, you know, those kind of attacks against her personally. and all the other lies she told. It was just pure drama to bring attention to herself. But the victim kind of thing of it is huge for her, because she's found in the past it works, and it's like the guy that cries wolf. It'll work a time or two, but after that people are onto you, and it's not going to work anymore. But, you know, and the next thing we saw, well, remember when they were, was it in Australia? And I don't know what kid they had rented or borrowed to play Archie at the time, because there are no children. But remember when there was the huge drama? It came out during her podcast when she was talking to, was it Venus Williams? Had told a story about she was at a Wimbledon match or something, and her child got very sick and a fever and a hospital, and it was all kinds of big drama and a hard thing for a mother and a professional athlete, and somehow, but she got through it and she won her match and overcame this trying situation. Well, Meghan could not stand somebody with a success story like that. So Meghan had to counter with, well, when we were in Australia, you know, Archie almost died in a horrific fire. She said there was a horrific fire in his room. And don't you know, even after all that terror and fear and danger, they made her go on an engagement the very next day. This is the bullshit she countered with. Well, now we know that there was no fire. There was no incident. The kid they were calling Archie was never in danger. In fact, he was in a different area of the house. Over here, somebody had plugged in a little space heater and it smoked a bit, and as they will do if they haven't been used for a long time. Well, anyway, they quickly unplugged it. Meghan probably heard about that. The Archie was with a nanny or a minder in another area of the house. No danger whatsoever, but we have to make up this big overblown story about how he almost died, so she got some sympathy. She probably wanted, you know, the play for sympathy, because she knew that those stories of her throwing tea on the ambassador's wife or governor general's wife, remember that? Yeah, and so this kind of stuff, right? So she needed a counter story about how Archie almost died in a terrible fire. Now, and I mean, it goes on. The crisis continue. What about New York? They're in New York for an event. Well, oh my, a catastrophic, near catastrophic car chase put them at death's door in the height of danger. Well, that's all bullshit too. The mayor, the chief of police, the cab driver, public citizen witnesses, everybody said it didn't happen. There's photographs of them, you know, getting in and out of a cab and just idiocy. The only time that any danger was created during that event at all was Meghan and Harry's own security in their vehicle blocking traffic. And that was a quote from the police, okay? So, yeah, the whole thing just outrageous. And even though she knows, even though it's just ridiculous, she's going to do it again. Now, a couple of people online have said what they think she is going to do, because they're going to Colombia, a very dangerous place where kidnappings are common. Wouldn't it be just the thing to have one or both of the kids kidnapped while they're in Colombia? This is what some people speculate might just happen. I don't think this is it's going to be this. Because you know what? Meghan's not smart enough to figure this out in her head, for one thing. And for another, they've been invited by the Colombian government, and you think the thugs are bad. Governments in those countries are pretty tough too. They are going to be just surrounded with armed people, armed guards, whatever. Nobody's going to be able to get near them. It's not going to be a problem. Security isn't going to be a problem for them there. It's going to be overkill. There's going to be no place for one of the kids to get snatched. By the way, the kids don't exist, but that's beside the point, and that's beside the point to Meghan, as long as the public perception is that they're, you know. Now, what I think is going to happen, and I've said this before, and what you got to do is go look at my playlist, The Time Loop, because this is going to land just a huge hit on the time loop. This is, if you go back to the time of Wallace and Edward, Wallace Simpson and the former king, what they had done, they were in exile. They were, well, they never really had money troubles. But like all elites, they were greedy, and he felt spited that he was cut off, and all of this stuff. Just pretty much the way Harry has talked about feeling in relation to his family. So anyway, they had gone to London to visit friends. They were staying just outside of London, and in my video of this, I have outlined the whole thing in greater detail, so go watch it. But anyway, they're staying with friends outside of London. One evening, they planned to go into London. Now, when they came, Wallace, whom had always been just showered with just very expensive jewels by Edward all along. So, for this visit to London, she brings a box of some very fine jewels with her to wear, presumably, while they're out and about and socializing and all of this. Well, at the house, there is a safe where she could have stowed the jewelry. Nah, she just, little cardboard box under their bed in the spare room, basically, is all she did. Well, they go out to dinner one night with their host, and when they come back, they discovered the box is open, the jewels are gone. Oh my God, they've been robbed millions of dollars. Even though the story from beginning to end, and if you read some of what the investigators said at the time, it was sketchy from the beginning, right? But who's going to say, who's going to call the former king a liar, right? So the deference thing, you know, and Harry and Meghan get away with that to this day. It's just kind of ingrained in society, and that's what's so anyway, they claimed all this insurance money, and over time, yeah, they did win it. They won the insurance claim and got millions, or what would in today's money be millions, for the missing jewels, the supposedly stolen jewels. Come to find out, in about, I think it was 1984, it was after Wallace's death, there was an auction in Sotheby's of some of her jewels. And lo and behold, jewels that were listed on the insurance claim as having been stolen showed up in the auction. They'd been in her possession all along. Insurance fraud. And I can see Meghan doing this. I can see Meghan trying to pull this off. And you say, well, you know, what jewels would... Well, she's got those blood diamond earrings that we know are worth about $50,000. She got them from the Arab Sheikh or something upon their wedding. She's worn them a couple of times and got such bad press for it that she kind of tucked them away. Those, I think, are the only real jewels she has. They're the only real jewels of any importance she has. So what's she going to use? What is she going to use for the insurance? Well, she's going to use Diana's jewelry. We've seen Meghan wear the rectangle aquamarine ring, the butterfly earrings, the Cartier tank watch, and other pieces. But what we know, and what maybe the general public doesn't, is that these are all reproductions. We've seen close-ups. We understand the truth that these are reproductions. She wears them to make you think that she got some of Diana's jewelry. She never did. She never did. They're reproductions. But what insurance company, and especially if this happens in Colombia, and she says, well, I took, you know, for the trip, so I took my best stuff because I wanted to make a good impression, and they stole Princess Diana, who's almost a saint, whose anniversary of her death is coming up. Now, this trip isn't till November, but that's beside the point. This is in her head. This is how she's thinking, because she's always trying to associate herself with Diana. But even though she's always trying to associate herself with Diana, the time loop just smacks it right into the historical overlay of Wallace and Edward. It's really quite spooky and entertaining at the same time. You gotta watch those videos, guys. So yeah, who is gonna say to her that, you know, those are reproductions, those aren't real? Most people don't know. Most people would assume. And the royal family, now, would they come out and say, no, she's wrong? They might. This might be, if she did this, this might be the one time that she's caught out, because William might think, oh, you've gone too far this time, girl. You're done. This could be it. It could be it. Or they might just maintain their silence and let it happen, because they know eventually the downfall's gonna come. I mean, it's inevitable. It's just a matter of time. We're watching a slow motion train wreck is what we're watching, you know. But that's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to wait till Colombia for this to happen. I don't think they're going to try to have it pulled off before. Depends on the mood. Depends on the mood of what's going on. She might feel desperate enough to try to pull this off in California. But this is the next dramatic event that I think is going to happen. I think they're going to stage a fake robbery to try to get insurance money on Diana's jewels, which she doesn't own. They're only reproductions. Does that sound wacky? Yeah, it sounds crazy. But look at all the other crap she's done. I think it's plausible. I think it's what's coming. This is what I'm watching for. And that time loop is something. Go watch the videos. Want you to like, subscribe, share this video, leave me a comment. I want to know what you have to say about all of this. Have a great day, everybody. Bye for now.